Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. It's Friday again. I don't know where the week's gone, but it's gone and it's Friday. So the first thing I need to know is, can you hear me okay? We had an issue last week with my microphone, but thanks to Belinda's advice on basically turning it off and turning it on again, we got it fixed. So do let me know if you can hear me okay, because that is the most important thing. I'm going to have a look and see if I can find myself, and then I can see what you can see. Oops, turn the volume down. So it looks like I'm live. Kay can hear me. Thank you so much, Kay. That is excellent news. Good, good, good. Got a knot in my cable. Oh no, I haven't. That's okay, I've untangled it. So how has your week been? Have you had a good week? And Maureen's saying the sound is okay too. Excellent. So I think we must be all right, don't you? If two of you lovely ladies can hear me, then I think everybody should be able to. So welcome to Kay, welcome to Maureen, welcome to Mary. Lovely to have you with me. Oh, well, it's a beautiful day here in the New Forest, I must say. There is, I'm looking out the window, not a cloud in the sky, which is unusual recently. We've had the most dreadful low grey skies, and it's an absolute joy to see blue sky and sunshine. Yes, it was very cold. We had quite a thick frost last night, and we had a frost the previous night as well. I had to go and break the ice on the pond for the birds twice this morning, but I'll take that if it means we can have sunshine. Carol's here. Hi, Carol. She says hello to everybody, and Candy's here. So good to have you all with me this afternoon. So I'd like to know what you've been up to this week. What have I been up to? Not a lot. I've mostly been preparing classes this week, which actually I've really enjoyed. I like cutting card, I like designing projects, I even like packing it all up into the little bags. So that's what I've been busy doing this week. And I don't think I've done much else than that. I've been outside briefly on the sunny days. I've looked through the windows on the grey days and tried to pretend that the sun was out. I'm one of those people that absolutely cannot stand the low light levels at this time of year. I struggle to wake up in the morning when it's dark outside. I've got one of those dawn light things that slowly lights up over about half an hour before my alarm goes off, and it definitely helps, but it still seems to have been very difficult this last week. I don't know whether it's just a hangover from Christmas. I don't mean a hangover from Christmas, but left over from Christmas, and not going to bed and getting up at my normal time or what. But that's been a struggle this week. But other than that, everything's been fine. So Carol's been trying to do her art homework. Yes, Carol sent me an email telling me about her art homework. Carol does an art course and I do an art course. We don't do the same art courses, so it's quite interesting to hear what each other are doing. And Carol has been given an extremely complicated drawing project to do for homework this week, which is, I think, way beyond anything that I would want to have to attempt. So well done, Carol. Keep going. It'll be worth it in the end, I'm sure. Right. Oh, let me just have some of my tea. I think I was a couple of minutes late, and it's because I realised I'd forgotten to make a cup of tea, and I absolutely have to have one. Otherwise, after about 20 minutes, I can't talk anymore because my throat is so dry. Oh, that's better. It's a bit hot though. Put that back over there. If I leave it in front of me where I can reach it easily, I'm bound to knock it over. All right, so what's new in the Stampin' Up world? Not very much is new, which is quite nice. We've got a settled period for this month, really. Now the excitement of the new catalogue launching and celebration are over. The launch is over, I mean. Obviously, they're carrying on for another month and a half. So celebration is continuing. What have been the most popular celebration sets? I wonder if you can guess. Type in your guesses. I thought the otters was going to be the most popular with my customers, and spoiler alert, it's not. So I'll tell you what has been the most popular with my customers in a moment. So in case you're watching this on the replay and you didn't know about Celebration, I know everyone who's here live knows all about it. Celebration is a fantastic promotion where you can get free stuff, free papers, free stamps, what's not to like. You can shop, and for every £45 you spend, you can choose something for free. And there are a few high value items which are for a £90 spend. Equally, if you're spending £90, you can choose 2 of the lower value items. And there are stamp sets and packs of paper at both levels, so you're not going to miss out on those. So you can shop, you can spend. So if you're going to place a larger order, and I'm just double checking my numbers, I'm sure it's £275. Yes, it is. If you're going to spend £275, then you will get an extra free stamp set, which is the Calming Camellia in the singular, which is a really, really pretty floral set. You'll get that for free. Plus, for whatever you've personally spent, you will also get the standard celebration choices as well. So that's brilliant. And if you've got friends or family who want to order things, if their orders come up to £45 or multiples thereof, they get free celebration things as well. So that £275 order could be you spending some Christmas money or just splurging a little bit. Or it could be your friends and family putting their orders together so that you can spend £275 and get those extra stamps for yourself. Or you can join. Joining is always the best deal. You always get free stuff the whole year when you join. Plus you get a discount on everything else you buy. And you get to attend my meetings, which I hold each month with crafting with my lovely team. Some of the time we meet face to face when obviously coronavirus permits, once a quarter. The rest of the time we meet online. I send out crafting packs and we chat and we craft together. And there are many, many other benefits to joining Stampin' Up. There's so many, I always have to write them down because I can't remember them all otherwise. So just running through briefly, we all love crafting with friends. That's the bit I like most of all about being a Stampin' Up demonstrator. I've met so many really nice people, and I think crafty people are the nicest, aren't they? You're all lovely, I know that. You get a discount, I've already said that. You get a discount on everything you buy once you are a demonstrator. And there are other ways that you can earn money as well. Either just a little bit to spend on your crafting supplies for yourself, or maybe a little bit to buy a few extras as well. You don't have to come into it with the aim of earning money. Lots of people are surprised that they can earn a little bit more money than they thought they were going to. As far as products are concerned, lots and lots of free products are available to you when you're a Stampin' Up demonstrator. And I can tell you all sorts of ways that you can get those. If you ever see me crafting with a pack of dies or an embossing folder or a set of stamps that have got glittery gold tape on them, a little square of gold glitter, you know that I got that for free. I like to mark the ones I get for free, and it's quite satisfying when I look up at my shelf and I've got a lot of things on there that I didn't have to pay for. And it's great for personal growth as well. If you join Stampin' Up because you would like to teach in person or online, or write tutorials and send out card packs to go with them, or make your cards and sell them in your local shop, or decide to do a wedding stationery business, any of those things are great for your own personal growth, but you don't have to do any of those to join. And joining in Celebration is such a good deal because you can get 2 extra free stamp sets on top of £31 worth of goodies for free. So you pay £99 and then you choose £130 worth of products plus any 2 stamp sets. So there we go. Have I tempted you? If that's the case, drop me a message or add a comment and I can answer any questions you may have. Now I'm going to go back because I've seen some comments coming up. So Carol put an order in last night. It's already shipped out to her. Orders are coming really fast at the moment, actually. I placed an order on Saturday morning, and bearing in mind that the warehouse doesn't work at the weekend, it wouldn't have been touched until Monday, and it arrived late yesterday afternoon. So that's only 4 days, which I think is amazing considering it's had to come from Germany and get through 2 sets of customs and across the channel. So I was impressed with that. Carol's obviously going to get hers soon as well. And she ordered the Friendly Hello set, which is stamp sets and paper. Lovely. I bet you're looking forward to getting that. So Mary is looking forward to collecting her daffodils soon. Yes, the daffodils have been very, very popular. So I'm going to cover you over turn the camera down and then I can show you my celebration brochure, and I'll show you the things that have been the most popular with my customers so far. Although there is obviously still time to go during celebration because we're only a couple of weeks in. So there's plenty more time for something else to become popular. Right, so I think I've done all the settings that I needed to. I still would like, I know I moan every week to you, don't I? I really, really would like to be able to see when I have tapped that button to mirror the screen and to see that it has actually registered. Because sometimes you tap these buttons on the screens and you don't know whether it's actually worked or not. Certainly I don't. Okay, so here's my desk. Let's have a bit of a fiddle. Bring that forward a bit. See if that's any better. I want you to get all my grid paper and none of my lap. Okay, I'm going to swivel my grid paper around just a little bit. And then I think we'll probably just about be there. Okay, I could spend all afternoon fiddling with this, but I think that will be good enough, I think, for you to see what you need to see. There we are. All right, so here's my celebration brochure. So Mary mentioned the daffodils paper. Yeah, Daffodil Afternoon. This paper is beautiful. I've got a pack waiting for Mary here. The most popular thing with my customers has been the Sunshine and Rainbows paper. It's got clouds and sunshines and rainbows on lots of the paper, but on lots of the papers and on lots of the other sides of the paper, because of course they're patterned on both sides, there are designs that are nothing to do with sunshine and rainbows. So it's really versatile. It's really happy. I've got a card that I've made that I'm going to show you that in a minute. Simply Marvellous has also come in as popular with my customers. I think that's because this is just so versatile. You've just got beautifully patterned coloured papers, and there's so much that you can do with those. So here's the otters, which so far a few people have gone for, but not as many as I thought so far, but perhaps they will come. And then this is the one that Carol's ordered. This is the Friendly Hello, which is patterned paper and a stamp set, and you can then stamp onto your paper, and I showed you that last week in a lot more detail. So there we are. Those are the things that have been most popular with my customers. So I wonder what you will order next. Well, for today, I'm taking you through something from the new catalogue itself rather than a celebration item. And if you've got your catalogue, you'll find it on page 11. And it's the Love and Happiness bundle. Now, I badly needed something to use, particularly for anniversaries. And I decided that this was the bundle I was going to go for. But as I've been playing with it, I realised that it's going to be great for so much more than the anniversaries that I bought it for. It comes with a stamp set and a set of dies and an embossing folder. So the dies and the embossing folder come as one pack, and the stamps obviously are a box of stamps. If you want to have everything, then you can save 10% on the bundle by using the code down the bottom here. So let me show you what you get. So these are the stamps. This is a cling stamp set, so they're red rubber stamps, and it's all words, and I'll read them through to you in case you can't see them well. I think I've got a little bit of glare on that plastic of the box as well. But they're going to work for engagement cards, wedding cards, congratulations cards, Valentine's cards and anniversaries, whether it's your own anniversary or whether you're sending an anniversary card to another couple. Absolutely brilliant. So it's a celebrating your anniversary. You two have something really special, each other. Congratulations. A Wonderful Marriage is the collection of many small happy moments. Here's to another year of love, laughter and happily ever after. I like that one a lot. Happy Wedding Day, Valentine greetings, wedding wishes. To the one I love. I mean, that could go on anything. That could even go on a birthday card, couldn't it? To the cutest couple ever, for my wife. Happy Valentine's Day, friend. That could be easily masked so you didn't have the friend on the bottom. In some countries, notably America, people send Valentine's cards to friends and their children make them for their school friends. We don't really do that in the UK, but that certainly is a very usable stamp. You just need to mask the friend, or even, dare I say, if you know you're never going to use it like that, just snip the bottom of it off so it just says Happy Valentine's Day. For my husband, you're engaged, here's to love and happiness, happy anniversary my love, and congratulations. So there we are. I think that's a super versatile set of words. It's going to cover everything you need. And then this is it's called a hybrid embossing folder in the catalogue, but includes the dies. So these two come together as the other half of the bundle. And you can see that I've got gold glitter on both of these. So actually I didn't have to pay for these. I got these as part of my perks of being a Stampin' Up demonstrator. How good is that? All right, so this is the set of dies. There are 2 hearts. These are open shapes, so you can use them to cut apertures as well as cut out shapes. They're both stitched, but they work slightly differently in that this large one, what it leaves behind has got the stitched edging on, and I'll show you that in a minute. And this smaller one, when you cut the heart out, the heart itself will have the stitched edging. Then there are these 2 here, which are great for sentiments, and they fit quite a few of the sentiments in the stamp set. Then there's a little bit of a sort of a funky shaped heart here. Let me see if I can bring that up to the camera a little bit better so you can see that one, which has got some stitching kind of radiating up the heart from the bottom point, and it's a sort of an asymmetrical heart, so a bit more modern. And then there are some flowers, 2 large and 2 small flowers, and flowers always go so well with weddings, don't they, and anniversaries. So that's the die set. And then there is this embossing folder. So this is one of the large square embossing folders. It'll take card up to about 5 3/4 inches. So you can make a 6-inch card front with this easily. And I don't know if you can see, there is a heart shape inside there. And you can use this either to emboss, and the background is all flowers, which I'm hoping just about shows. I'll show you an actual embossed piece in a minute. And it will give you a heart shape that's an unembossed area, and then it will give you a heart inside that which is embossed with flowers. You can also cut and emboss all at the same time using this large heart die, which fits into the embossing folder like that, and it kind of locks in place when you've got it in the right place. It doesn't click in, but it sits in. There's a little depression there that will sit in. Then you put your card on top, send it through your machine, and it will cut and emboss all in one pass. Absolutely brilliant. So I will show you all that in action in just a moment. Let me find my piece of card that's actually got the embossing on it so you can see that better. Reaching down to the floor as always. There we are. So I'm hoping the camera will pick this up. So this is just white card, and I've just sent it through the embossing folder without the die. And I'm hoping you can see that there's this plain area here, and then there's the heart inside, and the embossing is very 3D. It's beautiful flowers. Some of the areas are highly embossed and some of them are slightly lower embossed. So it's really, really beautiful, whether or not you cut out that central heart. So I'm going to show you a variety of ideas with this today. So the first card, I have just cut some shapes. So I'm going to make one of these, not the same, but a similar one. And I've used the Sunshine and Rainbows free paper, the Celebration pack, because I just loved all those bright, cheerful colours. So I've cut some of the small hearts. Let me find my dies. With this die, I've cut those from the paper, and these all have a stitched edging to them. And then this central section, I cut a square of paper Then I cut it with the larger die, and then I've used, if you like, the negative, the bit that's left when you've taken the heart out of the middle, and that has stitching around it too. So let me slowly lift this up and hopefully everything will focus and you'll be able to see what I mean. I think you can just about see these little hearts are stitched and the outside of this aperture is also stitched. And then I stamped it with "You two have something really special, each other, congratulations." And inside I used a piece of the rainbow paper and stamped "You're engaged, here's to love and happiness." And the embossing folder I used on here is actually the Tasteful Textiles, I think it's called. I wrote it down because I can never remember. Can I find my bit of paper? I don't think I can. I'm sure it's called Tasteful Textile. All right, so I'm going to make one that's similar to that, but a little bit different, just to give you a slightly different idea. So I've used the same colours, but I've switched them around. So for this one, my card base was Misty Moonlight, and then I had a layer of Pool Party. For this one, I'm going to use Pool Party for my card base, and then I've got Misty Moonlight to go on top. And this one I've embossed with the Painted Texture embossing folder, which I really love. So this folder is in the annual catalogue. It gives you the most beautiful texture. So I have done my die cutting on this already. I can't easily get my die cutting machine on my desk, as well as my phone stand and everything else. So I thought, well, I will just die cut these before we start. So that's my heart. Of course, I've got this one left, which I shall probably put on the envelope or do something with, but that can be used for another time. And then I've just cut a piece of card, just ordinary basic white card. It used to be Whisper White, didn't it? Basic white now. Fractionally smaller than my paper. It's, I don't know, it's probably less than 1/16 of an inch all round smaller. So my paper is 3 inches square, and I would think my white card is 2 and it's a little bit bigger than 2 15/16. The reason for that is just so I know it's going to fit behind without any of it showing around the edge. And I'm going to stamp my words on this. But the first thing I'm going to do is work out where I'm going to need to stamp them. So I've laid my paper on top of my card, got it so that I can't see the card outside of the paper, and then I'm just going to very lightly pencil around this heart. I've got a pencil that is a soft one, it's 2B, and that means it's going to rub out really easily. And I also have a decent eraser. I don't want one of those, you know, you rub them and all it does is smudge grey right across what you're using. So that will rub out my pencil very easily in a minute. So now I can see where that heart is going to sit, where the aperture is going to come, and I know exactly where I need to stamp. So this time I'm going to stamp with one of the stamps that I'm going to mask. So let me pull out all my other bits here. And I'm going to use this one which says "Happy Anniversary, my love." But actually I'm going to use this stamp to send to someone who isn't my husband, which sounds dreadful. You know, when you've got a couple who are friends, that kind of anniversary. So I don't want the "my love" bit on there, so I'm going to mask that. I've got some washi tape here. I have what could be the world's largest collection of washi tape. So I've always got washi tape to use for masking. If you don't have washi tape, then you can use ordinary masking tape, or you could even use the sticky edge pieces off post-it notes. You just want something that's low tack, and all you're going to do is stick it over the words you don't want. So I've stuck it over those words that say "my love." So now the only exposed words are "happy anniversary." So I've got my Misty Moonlight ink pad. I'm going to ink up my stamp. And it's really important that you now remove that tape or your post-it note strip before you stamp, because let me show you what happens if you stamp with it like that. So I've got happy anniversary, but I've also got a horrible smudge from all the ink that picked up on that tape, and it's so easy to forget to remove that. So very important. I'll re-ink my stamp. I will take the tape off, trying not to get ink all over my fingers, and then I will stamp. And you can do this with all sorts of stamps if you only want some of the wording. Right. Now I'm going to huff on this just because it's been in my hand a little while without me stamping, and the moisture in my breath will just reactivate the ink. And now I'm going to stamp and just try and get this nicely in the middle of that heart. There we are. So that now says happy anniversary, which is exactly what I wanted. And I can now give this to my friends. And I really need a little stash of anniversary cards made. I don't send anniversary cards to everybody I know, but I have a few family members that I do send an anniversary card to, and I'm always scrabbling around making one the night before it needs to be posted, so not anymore. All right, so I'm now just going to rub out that pencil outline just in case any of it shows once I've got my patterned paper stuck on top. Now you can glue your patterned paper on top and then stamp through it, but I prefer to do it this way, and then if my stamping is messed up, I've still got my patterned paper to use. So I'm going to glue those two pieces together. So Kay has said that it would make a lovely wedding invitation. Yes, it would make a really nice wedding invitation, Kay. You're absolutely right. And a lot of the suitability of things is in the colours, isn't it? You know, if you used whites and golds, or ivories and golds, or, you know, if you know what colours the wedding colours are, you can of course use those. I think it's a really, really versatile set. Ooh, I wasn't concentrating on where I was putting that. There we are. So that's my main piece for the front now. Let me stick my embossed layer down. And then I'm going to glue this one on top, and I'm going to put that up on dimensionals. I've used all my edge pieces, otherwise I would probably be putting those on. You know those bits you get around the edge? They're great because they're the same thickness obviously as your dimensionals, and if you need long pieces they're perfect, but these will be just fine. Check I know which side it's opening. It wouldn't be the first time I've made a left-handed card. And there we are. So that's gone in there. I'll get rid of all those little hexagon backing pieces. And actually, without realising it, I'll show you the difference. I've just changed this without actually deliberately intending to. For this one, I raised the paper up on dimensionals, so the wording is recessed. This one, the words are much more to the fore, and this whole panel is raised up. So there's always more than one way of doing things. All right. So now I have a whole bundle of these little hearts. Let's have a look. It's hard to choose some over another because they're all so pretty. I'm just going to lay a few down and have a look and decide what I like. If anyone's got any comments on which one you think should go where, let me know. So I'm probably going to use 5 of them, I think, because I like an odd number. Let's have a look. I'm not sure about that one. Let's move that one. Let's put something else in there instead. How about that one? No, that disappears against that stripe. Perhaps the rainbows. Oh, that's quite fun. Right, well, unless anyone's got any strong thoughts to the contrary, I think that's where I'm going to go with these. I'll have some tea and I'll just give you a chance to comment in case you're shouting, no, don't put that one there. So I'm going to want some dimensionals, which I had a minute ago, didn't I? What have I done with those? There they are. Okay, I'm not getting a comment coming up, so hopefully you are all happy with those. So I'm going to start to stick those down. Just going to pop this one down flat. It's quite hard to put glue on that side. I love that pattern. And then I'm going to pop this one on here, and the parts of this heart that extend over the edge of my square in the middle are going to need dimensionals on them, because otherwise it's going to sit kind of skew-iff. So I just need those on the little round parts of the heart, and then I can put glue on the part that's going to sit on the frame. There we are. And then this one is going to be entirely on the frame, so that can just be stuck with glue. And then this one is the same. This overlaps the edge, so I need a dimensional on the point of that heart just to stop it from sagging. There we are. So I've got some spare hearts for next time. That's never a bad thing. Those out of the way, and now I have somewhere, here we are, some of these beautiful iridescent rhinestones. I am in love with these. These are new in the mini catalogue, and they're just so pretty. They're so sparkly. They've got pink and yellow and blue and purple in them. They're lovely. So it's a celebration card, so I think we can put a good few of these on here. There's 3 different sizes, so I'm kind of mixing them up a little bit. There we are. I think these work great if you've got a lot of colour in what you're doing, rather than metallics. I think these are perfect. They seem to sort of work with whatever colour you're using. So now I just need to stamp my insert, and for this one I'm going to use this stamp, Here's to Another Year of Love, Laughter and Happily Ever After, which is the perfect wish for an anniversary, isn't it? And I have got somewhere my cutout heart, which is it's too big for there, so that may well go on the envelope, but I'm thinking I might just pop another one of these hearts on the inside at the bottom there. Let's have a look. That one, I think. Just going to use my grid paper to get the center point, just so I can get it in the middle. This line that goes down the center of the grid paper is brilliant for getting the center point of things. I just make sure that I've got an equal amount that side, and then I've got my middle point. So this can go inside my card. Oops, not that one. This one. That's the one I made earlier. There we are. So I've used essentially the same card design to make an engagement card and an anniversary card. So I'm very pleased with those. I now have an anniversary card to pop into my card stash, and I will be ready for the first anniversary of the year. And hopefully somebody will get engaged and then I can send them the other card. All right, I'll make a little space around me while you're looking at those two. Could lift them up for you actually, couldn't I, so you can see them a little bit closer, and then I'll pop them back down. It's a big lag before I can see what you can see on my iPad. Oh, there we go, that's about right, isn't it? So there you go. Right, so on to the next card then. And for this one I wanted to use the embossing folder with the dies, so in its full kind of hybrid capability. So I'm safe showing you this because my husband does not look at my Facebook lives or on YouTube afterwards. So here we go, this is his Valentine's card for this year. So I'll lift that up and hopefully you can see I went with classic red and gold for this. So my aperture has the stitching on it, and then I have some of this absolutely gorgeous metallic paper which I've put inside and have embossed. I've used the brushed metallic dots on there for some extra bling. I've stamped for my husband, and these two are cut with the label dies in the die set. And then on the inside I've just stamped Valentine greetings. So a bit like I did with the previous card, this is a Valentine's card, but I thought that I would make a wedding card instead, actually in front of you. So let me pull out some bits and pieces for that. And I will actually die cut and emboss live, but you won't see me do it, I'm afraid, because my machine is on my other table, because trying to get it under here and then get it so you can see it is just something that doesn't work well. But you'll be able to hear me, so you'll know I'm actually doing it live. So in case you were wondering, this metallic paper comes in this pack. It's in the annual catalogue. It's the gold and rose gold 6x6 metallic specialty paper. And this paper is absolutely stunning. It seems to be both shimmery and glittery all at once. It's got a real texture to it. Whereas the gold foil, which I use a lot, is beautiful, but it's just one flat shiny gold surface, whereas this is textured. I mean, it's like a brushed finish. If you imagine going over a sheet of gold with a wire brush, that's kind of the effect you would get. And it's sort of got a grain on it as well. Beautiful, beautiful paper. So the rose gold is a lovely soft pink colour, which also looks quite coppery. So it works well with copper. But I'm obviously using the gold here. So I've got a few bits and pieces here. I labelled my insert and my front piece because they're not quite the same size, and I didn't want to go and do the wrong size. So my card base is made from thick very vanilla, and that measures 5 7/8 of an inch square. And then the layer that I'm going to put on top, which I'm going to emboss, measures 5 3/4 of an inch square. So let me show you how I'm going to set that up. I need my embossing folder, and I need the large heart die, because although I'm actually going to put something contrasting in the middle, I obviously need to cut the aperture out first. So let me take my label off. Then I'm going to pop this in my die, in my embossing folder, sorry, and it pretty much fills up the whole area that will be embossed. So I'm just going to get it right to the edges, because I don't want any kind of bare bits that haven't been embossed. There we are. And I've forgotten to put my die in. Let's do that first. That would be the best stage. So the side that it's easiest to fit the die in is the side that has the Stampin' Up logo on it. And there you've got this little kind of debossed area that the die fits in nicely, and it doesn't easily move out of it. So now I can slide my card on there and make sure that I've got it square with the embossing. And then I'll fold that over, and that now will hold everything securely, and I'll put that through my die cutting machine. I'm going to be sure to put it through folded end first, because otherwise these folders are so thick that if you put them in this way first, the open end first, you can end up bursting the hinge, and that will actually break along there. So it's really important to put that in folded end first. It's also slightly beveled at this end, so it will feed through your machine much more smoothly. And the sandwich I'm going to use is my thick base plate. I'm not going to use any extra plates that you would use for cutting with thin dies. And then I'm going to use what you might have called the 3D embossing folder plate, or a specialty plate on top, which is a little bit thicker than your standard clear plate. So what those are labelled will depend very much on which die cutting machine you have, but you want to use the same sandwich that you would use if you were just using a 3D embossing folder. So for me, it's the thick base plate without the extra layer on top, and then one of the thicker clear plates, and that's it, nothing else. So I'm just going to walk over to my next table. You'll probably hear this clicking through. Here we are. I had to take off my microphone because the cable would not reach. So I open this up. You can see we've got beautiful embossing. And then if I take the die off, that has cut out that heart for me. Now obviously I can use that heart on a different project. And this is the piece that I'm going to use on my card. And I can see, I'm going to run and do that again. Can you see, when I picked it up off the table and put it through the machine, what I didn't do was check that I hadn't tipped it up and moved that die, which I obviously have. So my embossing wasn't quite central, so that's okay. I'm just going to cut another bit of card and just quickly do that again so I can show you one that's perfect. So I said that was 5 3/4, I believe. Measure it, yeah, 5 3/4. So let's just quickly do that again, and this time I will be careful not to allow that die to slide. I should have just opened up the embossing folder before I put it through and checked, but I didn't. There we are. So bear with me and I will just go and run this through again. There we are, that's better. So nothing has slipped this time. All right, so I want this piece for my card. I don't need that heart, but I can use that on something else. But what I do want is an extra embossed heart in the gold paper. So I've got a piece of gold paper here, which I'm just going to pop on here. Or rather I will put it on this side when I've got my die in place. And what this is going to do, put it up the right way so it actually cuts. I don't think I said that. When you put this down, make sure you've got your cutting blade upwards, otherwise it's not going to do anything. Then I'm going to pop my card on there. Just checking which way I want the grain. That way. Shut my folder. Okay, and I'm just going to take this over to the machine and run that through again. So you don't have to use the full size piece of card, you can use a smaller piece as well. There we go. Okay, so Carol's asked a question about the sandwich, because these dies are the same as the Christmas one, which she didn't have much luck with. She couldn't get a sandwich right. Okay, so I hope I answered that, Carol, but just in case you missed it, I'm using exactly the same sandwich that I would use if I was just using a 3D embossing folder on its own. So you're using the Big Shot, so you need the thick base plate without the thin die layer, just the thick base plate on its own, and then you need the thicker clear plate on top, which generally was a blue one with the Big Shot, but whatever you would use for your 3D embossing. So you just need 2 pieces for your sandwich, the base plate and that one special thick clear plate. I hope that's clear. If that's not clear, let me know. Okay, so I've just cut that out. This paper has like a plastic backing on it, so I don't know if you could see, it was just needs a little bit of persuasion for that heart to pop out. So now I've got all my pieces and parts. So I'm going to bring in my card base, and the first thing I'm going to do is to stick down my gold heart. I'm actually going to layer this panel with foam strips so it sits a little bit higher and my heart is going to be recessed. So I'm going to glue down the heart first and then put the panel on top, but I want to make sure that this is in the right place. So to do that, I'm going to put glue on this. I've laid my embossed card layer on top of my card base, and I'm making sure it's in exactly the right place, and then I'm just holding it there. That's not glued down. And then I'm just going to pop my gold heart into the aperture. My heart's got glue on it. I'm going to then lift up that one, and now I can just press this down nicely, but I know it's going to be in the right place. And now I can put dimensionals, or in my case I'm going to use the foam strips on this piece here. Oh great, Carol, hopefully that makes sense. All right, so these are the foam adhesive strips. They're slightly thicker than dimensionals, which is fine on a big card like this. And I'm only using them because otherwise I would be using so many of those little dimensionals. It would take me all afternoon to get the backing off them. So I'm just going to cut this roughly to size. I'm keeping the adhesive well in from the edge because I don't want it to be visible too easily from the side of the card. Now I should say that these hybrid embossing folders, and we've had a few of them now, there's one in the annual catalogue, there was one in the Christmas catalogue, which is the one Carol's talking about, and there's this one. You can only use the die that comes with the embossing folder inside the embossing folder. Don't try and use anything else because it won't work. It needs to be configured exactly correctly with the embossing on the inside of the folder. So it seems like it would work with all sorts of thin dies, but it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to take all that backing off now. Now you could use the same principle to make a shaker card, which I haven't done yet, but it will make a lovely shaker card. So I would cut it as I have now. I would put window sheet over my aperture. I would make sure that as well as the foam adhesive tape all around the edge, I had it right the way around the aperture with no gaps at all. And then I would be able to fill up that little central portion with whatever I wanted to be able to shake around, sequins or tiny beads or whatever. And it would be perfect. There we are. So I really like that with the vanilla against the gold. I just think that's so beautiful. And then I used another one of the stamps from the Love and Happiness stamp set to stamp Happy Wedding Day. I could have gold embossed this, but I decided I was just going to stamp. So I've used soft suede for the stamping, which I think is a really good brown to use with gold. It seems to kind of pick up the right sort of tones out of the gold for this ink colour. And then I cut it with this die from the die set. So that is that. Then I cut another shape from the beautiful gold metallic paper, same shape, and then I have cut it in half like that. So that's how I'm going to build up my sentiment for this, and it will look as if I had got two dies, one slightly larger than the other. So I'm just going to overlap this on this. Now, depending on how much I overlap and how much gold I leave showing, I may need to do a little bit of trimming afterwards. So if I go quite close in, you can't see any of the gold paper at the edges. But if I put that so there's more gold showing, I don't know if I can hold it and show you. There we are. You can see some of the gold paper here, so I would need to trim that off with scissors just to make it look right. Just going to try and match this just by sliding it. There we are. I've got a smidgen of gold there, so I'm just going to trim that off. There we are. So now I can stick that down on my card. And I was going to raise that. I don't think I am going to raise it actually, because this is quite thick already. I'm just going to stick that down flat. And I've got that kind of plasticky backing on the paper, which I mentioned earlier. So I'm just going to hold that in place a little bit longer than I normally would, just to make sure that it grabs. There we are. And then I just need some of these brushed metallic adhesive dots to go on top. You can see that I've used more gold ones than anything else. There we are, and that is my wedding card finished. So the embossing is just absolutely beautiful for this, I think. I just need to stamp the insert now. And I have wedding wishes on there, and somewhere buried is my soft suede ink pad. Try and get it nicely in the middle. And then finally I have a couple of strips of the metallic paper to just add at the bottom. Are they the right? No, a little bit long. Okay. Again, I'm going to use my grid paper to make sure that these go down nice and straight. And I can just turn that over and trim off the excess. And that's ready to go inside. Obviously I could just stamp straight on the card. I don't need an insert for because the card colour won't show the ink up. However, the front of this card is quite heavy, and so I think having an extra layer of card inside will help it to stand up without falling forwards. So if I'm making a big heavy card, I quite often pop an insert in for that reason. There we are. So there we have the wedding card, and we have the Valentine's card. I also have a dreadful habit of making my husband's Valentine's card at around midnight on the 13th of February. So I won't be doing that this year. I'm ready in advance. I've impressed myself. Let me just clean my stamp. And then I have one more to show you. Clear a little bit of space. So this one, I've used the really pretty Abstract Beauty paper. I've used the little flowers from the die set, and I've added some hand doodling as well, just for fun. So I've just drawn some wiggly lines around the edge to edge everything. I've cut the large heart from white card and I've stamped across it, as well as on a little label, and that's that really, a very simple card. So let me quickly make one up in front of you. Again, the same but different. So I've used paper from the same pack but a different pattern. I have my heart. So inside I just popped a little strip of paper. I've got a strip there as well. The inside, I've got some Night of Navy rhinestones. They're from the Holiday Rhinestones pack. And then I have some little die cut flowers. And I've just picked colours out of the paper pack for my flowers. On the labels on all our paper packs, they list the colours. This is also listed in the catalogue. So it's very easy to pick out card colours that are going to exactly match. And I have a Night of Navy ink pad, and I've got the congratulations stamp from that stamp set. So first of all, I'm going to pop my paper onto my card base. So I'm just using a basic white note card this time. Then I'm going to stamp onto the heart. So if I stamp with this stamp, when I stamp straight from the ink pad, obviously nice dark ink. And if I repeat stamp without re-inking, you can see that the impression gets paler and paler and paler. This is generational stamping. and you can keep going until it goes practically down to nothing. So this is the first generation. In other words, it's straight from the ink pad. Then we have second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on generations. So for my heart here, I wanted the most obvious word to be the one that's on the label. So that's my first generation ink straight from the pad. So on here, I've stamped the stamp off a few times before I've then stamped onto the heart, just so that although you can see the words, they're not quite so dominant on the card front. So I think from there onwards looks about right. So that means I've got to stamp once and twice on my scrap paper and then use the third impression onwards on my heart. So I'll stamp off twice. That just removes some of that ink. And then I'm just going to stamp on here 3 times, trying to keep it straight. Once, twice, 3 times. There we are. So that just adds some interest to the heart. And while I've got that, see the state of me? While I've got that heart here, sorry, the stamp here, I'm just going to stamp on my little label piece as well. But first, I'm going to try and get some of that navy ink off, because we all know where that's going to end up otherwise, don't we? And it won't be pretty. There we are. All right, I'm going to show you another trick for this as well. So this is the size of my little label. It's very tiny. And I want to stamp on that. Now, obviously, I could stamp on a bigger piece and cut it down, but sometimes you've just got these little scraps and you think, I'm sure I can fit that stamp on there. So one way to do that is, again, with my trusty grid paper. So I'm going to stamp with this, and I'm going to make a note of where I've got the bottom of my block, which line it lines up with. Okay, and I'm actually going to mark that, so hopefully you can see it as well. So it's this line here. Okay, so the bottom of my block is on this grid line. So now, if I line up my stamp on that grid line again, it should stamp in the same place, the same height upwards. So if I lay down my little slip of paper that's exactly over that, then I can stamp beautifully on that. And then I just trim that off. So that is another good reason why you should always have some grid paper on your desk. All right, so let's now start to put this together. So I'm not going to doodle on this one. I'm just going to use the shapes as they come. Put my heart in the middle. I could put that kind of off center and askew, but I'm going to keep it straight. And then I'm going to arrange some of my flowers on here. So what do we got? Those 2 perhaps, and then maybe down here somewhere. Something like that, those sorts of colours, I think. So these 2 I can stick down straight away. The other ones I'm going to kind of stick behind and around that little sentiment strip. So I'm going to have this one behind the sentiment. Something like that, and then I'm going to pop a blue one here. I've kind of just made a note of roughly where that will come, and then we'll put another one there to go behind the sentiment strip, and then we'll glue this down. I've got a little smudge of ink there, no doubt off my dirty fingers, so we'll just cover that up with a flower. And then I want an odd number of flowers, so I'm just going to tuck another one down there, I think. There we are. Now I just need a few rhinestones on that, and it's done. There we are. I've got a piece of paper to go inside the card, and these are just the little scrappy bits that, you know, when you cut your panels for the card front, there's always an odd strip left, isn't there? And I very often pop them inside. There we are. So that's a congratulations card. So that could be for anything at all, anything that merits congratulations. Struggling to focus, isn't it? I'm sorry for the jumping about. And then just finally, because I'm aware of the time, let me just show you a couple of other things you can do with the embossed pieces. So if you have an ink blending brush, or even a sponge dauber will work, although I think the blending brushes are easier, you can highlight some of the embossing with some ink. So I have polished pink ink here. I've just picked some up on the bristles of my blending brush. I like to use a clear block just to make sure that the ink is distributed fairly evenly across there, and then I also usually just test it out on my paper to make sure I've not got too much ink on there. I want something quite pale. I can always build it up if necessary. And then I move my hand before I make contact with the paper, and then I'm just going to lightly go over this embossed heart. And some parts of the embossing will pick up more ink than others, which is really nice because it looks like you've carefully coloured some of them darker, but it's just happening. I think it's to do with the way the paper fibres stretch when they're embossed. There we are. So I now have an embossed pink heart on my white background, so that's really quick and easy to do. Believe it or not, I've got somebody at my door. I don't think I'm expecting anything to come today. Will you bear with me? I'm going to have to run and get that. I'll be back very quickly. I'm back. I'm so sorry about that. Didn't know that was coming. Had to sign for something for my son, so heaven only knows what that was. Right, where was I? So that's how to ink with a blending brush. And then here I've got an embossed heart, which is the kind of thing you saw me cut earlier. And you can actually colour these in. Now, if you don't like fiddly, don't instantly discount this because it's not quite as fiddly as you might think. So I have Stampin' Blends markers here. I tried this with the Stampin' Right markers, which are the water-based markers, and it doesn't work nearly as well because they spread a lot more, where the paper fibres are stretched as the embossing happens. The water-based ink runs all the way along those stretched fibres. But when you use an alcohol-based Stampin' Blends marker, that doesn't happen, and you can actually colour in this raised pattern, and you can do it all or you can just do bits of it. I'm not obviously going to do the whole heart, but I'm just doing a little bit to show you. So I've got light balmy blue and light granny apple green here, and you can see I've only done that very, very quickly. Let me lift that up to show you. Hoping it will focus okay. Jumping about all over the place. I don't know why that is. If my expert in photography Belinda was watching, no doubt she could tell me, but there you are. So you can colour some or all of the pattern. I recommend, as I say, Stampin' Blends markers because you get the ink absorbs instantly, it doesn't bleed or spread. Or for a quicker result and perhaps a more delicate result, you can use ink on a blending brush. So let me put the 3 cards that I've made with you today down. There we are, just for you to finally see. So on this one we've done simple die cutting with the dies and obviously stamped using the stamp set as well. For this one we use the hybrid embossing folder with the die cutting and the embossing happening all in one pass through the machine. And then I cut and embossed a separate piece to inset in the centre. And then for this one, again, I used the die cutting, this time with the flowers. And obviously the stamping again. And then I just showed you a couple of techniques for inking the pattern on the embossing folder. So I'm going to turn the camera up and say bye-bye to you because I can't believe it. I've really gone on and on and on today, haven't I? It's nearly 3:30, if you can believe it. Okay, hopefully, are we there? Just about. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. The one thing I've forgotten to do is have a look on my list and see what I'm going to be doing with you next week, but I will put a Facebook event up and let you know about that. I'll do that early next week, so you'll be able to see what we're doing next Friday, but I do hope you'll be able to join me. I'm just having a quick look see if there's anything else here. No, I don't think there's any last minute questions. Thank you, Carol. I'm glad you like the cards. And yes, I will see you on Monday. Carol is part of my team. I'm crafting with my team online on Monday morning. So that's something to definitely look forward to. I hope you have a lovely weekend, whatever you're doing. I hope the weather stays nice. And I will look forward very much indeed to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.